side you've got the right brachiocephalic vein and the left brachiocephalic vein. And you can see these two vessels which drain into the brachiocephalic veins. You've got the external jugular vein and the internal jugular vein. So the external one is more lateral and the internal jugular vein is more medial. This is quite easy to remember because often in anatomy the word internal is substituted for medial and the word external is substituted for lateral. So when people talk about medial rotation and lateral rotation, they also might call it external and internal rotation. So you've got the internal jugular vein and the external jugular vein draining into the brachiocephalic vein. And the right and left brachiocephalic drains converge to form the superior vena cava, which drains into the right atrium. So the next great vessel is the pulmonary trunk, and this splits into two vessels. You've got the left pulmonary artery and the right pulmonary artery. So these are the arteries that go to the blood, to the lungs, carrying deoxygenated blood to the lungs. So once oxygenated in the lungs, the blood vessels which carry the oxygenated blood back to the left atrium are the pulmonary veins. So you've got 4 pulmonary veins on either side of the left atrium. So they return oxygenated blood to the left side of the heart, the pulmonary veins. So next we've got the aorta. So this is this vessel here which leads out to the left side of the heart, the left ventricle. So it arches over the pulmonary arteries here, and it's got several branches. Well, 3 as you can see. So you've got this branch here which is called the brachiocephalic trunk, and this branch splits into 2. So you've got the right common, ignore that annotation, this is the right common carotid artery, and you've got the subclavian artery. So the aorta, which comes out of the left ventricle, splits into 3 branches. The first branch here is the brachiocephalic trunk, and this splits into 2. You've got the right common carotid and the right subclavian, which goes off to supply the right arm, and the common carotid here goes up to supply the head and the neck, and it splits into 2 branches, the internal and external carotid artery. So the next vessel we've got here is the left common carotid artery. So just like you've got the right common carotid artery here, again ignore that label because it's incorrect, you've got the right common carotid here and the left common carotid, which comes immediately off the aorta, and that's the middle branch. So the final branch, the most posterior branch, is the left subclavian artery. So just like you've got the right subclavian artery here, you've got the left subclavian artery here. So it is a little bit confusing because you've got one of the branches which is the left common carotid artery, but this branch is the brachiocephalic trunk, which later separates into the right common carotid and the subclavian artery. So just to go through that again, you've got the aorta, which comes out of the left side of the heart, and you've got 3 branches, 3 arteries which come off the aorta. Most anteriorly, the first one, you've got the brachiocephalic trunk. Next, you've got the left common carotid artery, and most posteriorly, you've got the left subclavian artery. So the subclavian arteries arch off to supply the arm. The carotid arteries go up to the head to supply the head, neck and brain. So the brachiocephalic trunk splits into 2. It splits off into the right subclavian and the right common carotid artery. Here you've got the left common carotid and finally you've got the left subclavian artery. So the carotid arteries, the common carotid arteries on either side split into left and right, external and internal carotid arteries. So the right common carotid artery splits into the right external carotid and the left external carotid, and as you can see here, they go up to supply the brain and the head and the neck. So just quickly recapping what I've told you, you've got these veins which drain the head and neck. You've got the external jugular and the internal jugular. These drain into the brachiocephalic veins, and you've got one on either side, left and right brachiocephalic veins, which drain into the superior vena cava. The pulmonary trunk here, which comes out of the right side of the heart, splits into left and right pulmonary arteries. Blood received from the lungs and is oxygenated returns to the left side of the heart via the pulmonary veins, and you've got 4 of these on either side, not on either side, 4 of these together, 2 on either side. And then you've got the aorta, which has 3 branches leading off it. The first one is the brachiocephalic trunk, which splits into the right common carotid and right subclavian artery. The middle artery is the left common carotid, and the most posterior is the left subclavian artery, which goes off to supply the arms. So those are some of the major vessels that you need to know, which come off the heart and lead to the heart.